Okay, so those are all the steps to make the flower. I want to show you how to put it on the stem, and then we'll quickly go over leaves since most people know how to make leaves, and if not, I'll show you how. Okay, but getting it on the stem is important, and it also varies for your needs. I have a stem here. I'm gonna stand up and put the camera up taller. All over. Okay. Okay. So I'll send some pictures of this. You can also screenshot it, but whatever. But leaves are my least favorite thing to do unless I have an absolute model right in front of me, because it's so hard to figure out where leaves come off, how they work, and all that. This was my best guesstimate without being able to procure a whole stem of these. I did, for this exercise, a neighbor surprised me, or a friend surprised me with a Brugmansia on my doorstep one day, and I went downstairs and, you know, scanned the hell out of it so I could figure out how to do this. But that was me averaging out what a panel would look like. This is where I got the calyx. Oh, and this is also to remind me that you can also make yourself a pod. Same way, right? Just use that calyx cover because it once was this pod. So if you want to have a bunch of pods dangling off, I think just do what we just did, but put a filler in there, and that could be really cute. And this is a good representation of kind of what we're doing in the middle, where you see there's a dead stop for all the edges. They all stop flat, and then the curly parts come out longer. Ours are just more robust because it's further along. So that's that. Okay. So one thing to note, let's see if you can see it. These leaves are kind of in the way. Let me see if I can move a leaf, but the manner in which the Brugmansia comes off the stem seems to be from the top, bow up a little bit, and then down with gravity. So from the side, it kind of comes off near the top, bows up, and then bows down. I will send you the best photos I can of what I've done, and then somebody, I can't remember who, but some really nice person sent me some photos of something on their property that was really informative. Maybe I can share those, but anything you can find is going to help you make a more accurate version of how these go together. I will also point out this has been to England and back, so it's not in the best shape. It could look better, but it's had a lot of traveling. Okay, so, and then this is how I think we're going to do the leaves. I'm going to show you how to make the leaves first, but let's just put a stem together. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a skewer, a strong skewer. Then I'm going to take a completed, which I have none. This is almost completed. Uncompleted Brugmansia. I'm going to finish this part of the stem in either paper or tape or whatever looks good to me. I'll show you some options when we're doing leaves. This is just the paper, which is fine with me. It's going to curve a little bit. And then it's going to come over. I'm looking at my example really quickly. Yes. Okay. This is the important part. You're going to make a curve, and then you're going to make an abrupt bend, because that bend is going to get attached to your skewer like this. And I'll show you how, but do you see that? It's like from the side, it looks like this. It curved, and then it had an abrupt bend where it's going to attach to the skewer. And that's how it's going to hang down. Let me, Stella, can you put me on front view for a minute? Yes. Hold on, let me see if I can get a front view for this for a minute. Okay, hi. So, how are you guys doing? We good? Like 10 more minutes. Okay. So here's the skewer. Let me start over with this part. So say my flower was, my stem was straight. Get out of here. Okay, I'm gonna curve it with kind of like as if you curved your little filler part, and then you curve this, so it's gonna hang down at a curve, but then I'm gonna abruptly turn this. So from the top, it looks like that. So that when I put it on the skewer, it's gonna hang down like that. And the skewer is already going to be pointing in, the stem's already pointing in the direction of the skewer. And then from a front view, it'd be like that. And like from a top view, it would be like that. And I would attach that with floral tape, maybe some glue too, whatever. I'm going to show you some other details, but basically that's how you get the flower on. And I would almost start with getting the flowers on. If you want to put a second flower on, it seems to me that they kind of alternate, but I not the best of this part of the botany of it all. Like, I don't totally know how a stem works, but I did have a photo of a stem that works like this. So we're going to be very specific. So the same thing, here's the one that I didn't finish. Actually, let's use the yellow one because it's finished. So I'm going to do the opposite of what I just did. I'm going to curve it, and then I'm going to abruptly turn it the other way so I can come off the stem a little further down the stem, but in the same manner. So if that was attached and that was attached, they'd be hanging together like that. And the top view would be like this. One goes, you can't really see that. One goes one way and one goes the other. I will send photos of my completed one. Anyway, so I would attach those first with the idea that the stem sort of points up and these point down. Like when it's growing on the tree, I can tell you that for a fact. Like often you'll see the stem, the branch going up, the trees falling, let me start over. The branch going up at an angle, the flowers coming down with gravity. So even though they wouldn't really be like this unless there were many of them pushing against each other, they're kind of down. So if you want a horizontal branch, you would adjust these to still hang down. But I like this idea of the branch at an angle and you adjust these to come down. And again, I'll send you that photo, but from the top, something like that. So that tip of the skewer is right here. Now we're going to go ahead and do leaves. I'm going to show you how I put them on. And we're just going to imagine that the flowers are already on. It's just too much to do all at once. Okay, really quickly, the leaves. So most everybody probably knows how to do it. Oh, I gotta can you put me overhead again? Yep. Thank you. Okay, so you'll get a template page that has a bunch of leaf parts, leaf halves. I had one made already, but it's not here anymore. Okay. So if I were to use the 622, which I really like for this, I would stretch all the crepe out again. Whatever size leaf you're making, you want to make sure, because you're going to laminate it. It's just too thin actually in nature, and also for this, you want it to stay strong. One layer of this would be too small, too thin. If you're going to be you cut leaves out at an angle on this creped paper. So you want to make sure whatever piece you're laminating is tall enough to accommodate one of these halves times 2, but you'll see what I mean in a second. So you would laminate that so you've got 2 sides. And then just for the people, I think a lot of us know how to do leaves, but basically the direction of the crepe is the direction of the lines on this template. So those lines should go in the direction of the crepe. So if I were going to have this laminated piece of crepe, I would draw a straight line with a ruler there, and then I would cut around the template like this. And then you probably won't be able to get your other half on this page because you can't just go like that, because the direction of the crepe won't be right. So you'll have to make another one for your other half when you're working this big. When you're working this like with a smaller one, I can put my crepe in the direction, my lines in the direction of the crepe there. And then when I flip it over to do the other half of my leaf, I can come over here and get that piece there. So you just have to look at the size of pieces that you're laminating so that you can make the leaf you need to make. For example, this is 2 pieces of, this was from a piece of laminated. So it's got 2 sides of the 622, and I already made something out of this, but because I have 2 pieces of it, now I can just put one of my templates on here along the straight line of the edge, make sure my direction is right. These lines match the crepe. And then can you search through this pile for a leaf that doesn't have a wire? There was one. Oh, I found it. It's right there. Cool. Okay. Okay. All right. And then I'm just going to do a hack job of cutting this out. So then you'll have two sides of a leaf with the grain going out kind of like the veins of a leaf. This is the smoother side, so I'll probably use this side. This blue comes through when you laminate the two sides. That's just what the dye did of the paper with the glue, and I actually like that. I feel like there is some blue in this in these leaves, but it doesn't happen all the time. It's not super dependable when that happens. So sometimes it has to do with what I've dried it on. If I've dried it on like a piece of wax paper, this is sometimes worse. If I do it on a paper bag, sometimes the air comes through differently and it doesn't pool as long. And I think if it dries faster, it doesn't get as blue. It doesn't bother me at all. I have leaves made with it both ways. I'm not going to go through too much more of how to make a leaf, except for you're going to do a 1/16 inch of glue up and down. I mean, up one side. You're going to overlap them. You're going to hold it up to a window. That way you can see through it and you can say, oh, I've got like a 1/4 inch overlap. I need to pull it back apart till it's only overlapping 1/16 of an inch. So I'll do that. I'll keep holding it up to the light and you'll be able to see how much you're overlapping until you've just got a 1/16 of an inch. And then you're going to want to hold it, press it, carefully press it, and all of that. A tip for when you do the laminated 622 is before this flower, I get it as stretched out as I can ahead of time. And then while it's still damp, now it's dry because I did these yesterday, but I would take a little more stretch out of it after when it's wet. So you can get a little more smooth, but you still have some texture, which is something you want. So give it a little stretch, but there shouldn't be much stretch left in it because you stretch it ahead of time. Okay. With this other paper that I was showing you, so again, I can't remember the exact name, but I'll give you the source and everything. I showed you how I wet this. I let the color come through it, and then it dried. I did the same thing. I folded it over so I had 2 layers, so you can cut 2 sides of the leaf at the same time. You go ahead and draw a diagonal line. You match up your lines, and then you cut around it. And then you glue it, and that brings us here. So here's a leaf made of that. So I want to really quickly show you how I do the backs of these leaves. Here's the front. After it's dry, I will pull some veins in with my thumbnail, sort of like you'll see on the template pages. It looks better on the laminated, stronger paper. When you do it on the single layer paper, it looks a little rippier and I don't love it, but it still reads, it's fine. You also can just skip doing that whole part. They look fine, but anyway. So what I'll do is I'll get a piece of 20 gauge cloth wrapped stem wire. We're in demo crunch time now where I don't want to bore you with things you can do already, but I'll run glue down the back. 1/16 of an inch. I'll set this in about a 1/2 inch down from the top. You know, I'll press that on. I'll make sure it's dry. I'll check the front to make sure it's right at the center. Then that's on there. And then for this plant, I want bulk. I don't want just this one thin one. So I'll then go in and lay a second wire in to the side of the first one, glue it in. I might even cut the top of the wire so it's at a bit of an angle if you've got a good cutter. So just come in about 1 inch or 2 with the second wire. Nobody's going to be looking at the bottom of these anyway. And then I will start to use floral tape to wrap those 2 wires together all the way down. And once you're out of the bottom of the leaf, I actually, instead of them sitting side by side, I turn them so they're more up and down, if you know what I mean. Like they don't, right here you can see them, they're coming out two next to each other, but after I'm out of the leaf, I'll twist it a little bit so it's not so thick from the top. And then it's, but you wrap the two together. I put a little glue in it too so it sticks. So you wrap those two layers together to make it a thicker look. I actually use a little bit of the difference between the wire and the leaf is pretty abrupt looking. So what I did to soften that was on both types of leaves, I have some other ones there, I took a little tiny sliver of floral tape and I glued it right there to help with the transition. So it doesn't look so abrupt. So that's just a piece of, that's a piece of floral tape, just a little tiny wedge. I will send my sources, Catherine. They're so hard to find the right green. I absolutely agree. Catherine is saying, what color brand floral tape do I use? I have some fairly recent resources that I will get to you from England, and hopefully they're still intact. But it's a crapshoot. It was a crapshoot before the pandemic, and now it's gotten very difficult to find a very natural one. The one I'm using here is a little on the brighter side, but you don't have to use this one. This one, as unnatural as it looks here, it is sort of bright like this plant can be. This plant goes a little on the yellow. Anyway, so good question. So here I've done a little wedge of it, just a little sliver to kind of come up here and then cover that. Nina's asking red chalk. I did actually put a little red chalk on this one just to experiment with making this area darker. But I did mostly a bit of yellow up the middle and kind of brushed a little yellow on here and there, but I just played with it. Everybody who knows me knows that leaves are not really something I'm too super interested in. So I did my best because we need them for this plant. And then I tried to do the same up here, didn't come up great, but I tried to put a little sliver there to kind of soften the tops there, just in case, and soften this intersection. So you can use these little bits of tape to kind of soften things that bug you, but it's not a perfectly accurate depiction. I use Crayola chalk. I just get chalk from, I've been using this one since I wrote the book in 2016. Just sidewalk chalks. I have nothing against pan pastel. There's certain things I can't add to what I'm already doing, and that happens to be one of them. Okay, so there's all these different sizes that we used on this plant. Here's one. Again, you can see the filler piece there. I kind of was not very precious when I put that one on. And as the leaves get smaller, I use a slightly shorter second piece here because we don't need it all the way up. I'm just looking to strengthen the leaves. And here's some little tinies. Okay. So then pretending that, okay, so here's our skewer, and we've maybe wrapped it with a floral tape. I sometimes will wrap something with a floral tape. I do this a lot on leaves and things, but here's a green tape, say. And if I want to make it less sticky and look a little nicer, I'll rub it with chalk. And then I will take an old rag and I will just polish it. And you won't be able to do this much once you start getting plants on it, but at the tip here, you might want to do it. Most of this is going to get covered up, but okay. So I will send you photos, but basically I start with the largest leaf at the tip. Here's one I made. Here's a good example of how a single layer of paper doesn't receive the creases as well. Like if I put some in to make it look like the veins of the thing, you can tell it's pulled apart paper. I don't like it as much, but I do like this color. So if this was my top leaf, and again, my first flower is coming out somewhere near the front, like I've already got my flower on right there. So now I'm going to add this leaf, and you can see the profile there. I'll send some pictures, but it kind of goes up like this and then down. And then what I would do is I would probably strap that right to the top of this. You could actually do this before you put the flowers on. Let's say that it'd probably be easier. So I could put that here. I could also put it below it. Maybe that could work, but you want to tape that on to the tip of the skewer. And what we're doing is we're getting a stiff stem that we can start to build as it goes and gets more things on it. It gets thicker and thicker. The next thing I would do is take the second size down of leaf, and I would, let me put this down. I would curve it out a little bit. And then that thing we were doing with the flower where you kink it so you know it's going to go with the direction of the stem. So I've got this one on like that, and then maybe this one comes out in the same area, and you wrap it on next to it. I'm gonna try to hold that in place. So it goes like that. So it goes off and up and out. And maybe it even goes up a little bit more like that. So maybe those two go on like that. And then the third leaf is the same as the other one you just put on. You just sort of do the opposite. You go up and out like that. And again, I encourage you, if you have one of these plants in your neighborhood, this was one pattern I saw in one photo on Pinterest because I couldn't get a branch. So, you know, there's all different kinds of ways of putting these on, but I do believe these kind of stick up a little bit higher than that. And the way I would wrap it is the same way. I would maybe put the first one on underneath and then the next two next to it. So it all kind of, when you wrap it together, it all becomes one. Like that. Okay, and then I would take one of these Brugmansias, like I said, and let me put this up a little higher. Let's try this. And then so those are together, then this comes on. So now you've got this one dropping down. It's an absolute mess in this frame, I realize that, but I will send you some pictures that are helpful. You can see that's what it's like from the side, sort of. And then I'm going to skip over to the one I already have done because it will be helpful. Almost done, guys. So this is sort of what I was just showing you, the three that are attached. The middle one actually does come from the bottom. That helps it stay smooth along this. Wrap those all together. I wrapped these in tape and polish them with chalk, like I was saying. Same here. You get every bit you go along, you kind of tape it up and then polish it on so it's thicker here. And then right on top of where the first flower comes out, I put the next to smallest leaf there and then a little tiny one on top of it. And they're both mounted on top of where that flower comes out. So they all kind of spring from the same place and layer on top of each other. So there's a layering there. Then I've come down maybe 3.5 inches. I've put the other flower on the other side. So it pops up. I know it's upside down, but that's what I mean. It pops up and then drops down. And that's where I bent that stem. And so now that stem is building up onto this stem as well. Like the flower stem is helping bulk up this part of the stem as well. And then I popped some more flowers on there, leaves on there, next to smallest one and then 2 small ones. And they kind of spring like that. And you can keep going and going. And I do think that in a lot of cases, like there might be another flower popping out right on the other side of this at a certain point, because they're not made of, because they're made of paper, they don't bunch together that well as ones in real life would. So it might be hard to place another one there without them banging into each other. But you might be able to adjust the height so the bottoms don't crash into each other. But I will send photos that try to make that all a little clearer. And I know I did rush through how to make a leaf, but there is a ton of leaf information out there. But yeah, when you put a leaf onto something, I know I was just kind of throwing it all together, but when you have the skewer or whatever, and you're putting on the leaf, it's just like we were putting the flower, you put it there and then you wrap them together. And I usually add a little glue too, but wherever you want to put it, you wrap it on, then polish it. And yeah, let's, can you put me back on? All right. Hi. That was a ton of info, and that got a little dodgy at the end there with the leaves, but you know I hate leaves. So please, I think that's about it, unless I forgot anything. I'm gonna send you so much information in the next 24 hours. And then if this video worked, you'll be getting that whenever I get it. I will, if it isn't out in like 2 days, I'll update you. I'll send you an email telling you what's going on because I have to try to figure out how this all works. But email me with any questions. And I would love to see your results, of course, if anybody actually makes this thing, but it's super rewarding to make and fun and yeah, I hope you make them. Oh, one last thing. So we did talk about finishing them. So there was the whole, don't forget to do this, brush it up with some pink, curl the edges if you want, and then do what you want up here. Use photos from your life or your garden or the internet for an example, but you know, have fun with the bottom. Also pulling that seam back through is really helpful in helping it curl up. And one last thing I wanted to say is that one of the things I really love about teaching in my book is that everybody improves on it. I only think of as much as I feel like teaching or as much as I can impart on as many people at once. And then almost always somebody figures out something better. So I encourage you to figure out the next step in how to make this, because I took it as far as I could or was willing to take it, but I know that there's probably smarter ways to do it, prettier ways to do it, possibly faster ways to do it. But that's your starter, your Brugmansia starter. And I thank you so much for coming. And I'm gonna look at everybody's faces right now, but and try to get this thing recorded. And hi, is there a way I can just see everybody? Can I, and then just have to, can we unmute everybody or can they unmute? They can unmute themselves. You can unmute yourself if you want to talk or hi. Where, let me get my glasses. Who's
Hi, Tiffany. Hi.
Hi. All right, well, we'll wrap it up, but wave to me if you can. And I really
Bye.
oh,
Thank you.
Tiffany. Thank you
so much.
It's on the recording. Okay, all right. Well, all of you take care. Great to see your faces. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing it.
Have a nice day. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
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 I think it's on the recording. Oh, good. I'm sorry if
That's
there's
okay.
a small chance it's off. You see you stick around. Okay, we good? Yeah, I'm just saying, Bonnie, hi, bye.
Hi, bye. Thank you.
Hi, Happy New Year. Hi, Kelly.
You too.
Thank you.
Who's that?
Joan.
Joan.
Thank you so much
Oh,
for doing this.
Joan, your hair, you look so cute. Hi. Mila, who's this? And Jolly, I can't see you, but yeah. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Kelly, how you doing?
Good. How are you? So glad I came at the right time the second time I tried.
Bye.
Oh, all right. Good to see you.
Happy New Year. Bye.
Happy New Year. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Joan, you look amazing. Where are you? You keep moving around. Your hair looks so good. Hi, Nina. Bye.
I love your hair too.
Oh, we're going gray, huh?
Yep, for sure.
That cut is so good on you. I love it.
Thanks. Thank you.
Is that your craft space?
Not sort of, yeah. I've been also doing sugar flowers now.
You are?
And I love them so
Oh
much,
my
but
God.
I'm really way better at them because of you.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna check out are they on your Instagram?
Yeah, some, yeah.
All right, I have got
Better.
to see those. Where'd you learn it?
Here.
Oh, on a Zoom?
Yeah, on videos, yeah.
Have you been taking any classes from Jacqueline Butler? Petal, what is she called?
So. No.
She's in San Diego. Oh, she's pretty good. But yeah, there's so many great sugar flowers. I want to see yours.
It's so fun. It's really fun. But I go back and forth between paper and sugar.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure they're super fussy for weather. I'm sure sugar flowers
Yes, but,
very fussy for weather.
But I mean, it depends on the paste that you have. I've had some paste that just will not dry in Houston and some that dry instantly. So
Wow.
Anyway, it's really fun.
Oh,
But it's
good.
great to see you.
Great to see you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, I'll
Oh,
check
and
it
by
out.
the way, I have done many Zoom meetings that I've recorded. It's gonna be fine. I'll
Okay.
probably send it to you in just like less than a day, and there'll be a link you can send out to everybody. It's
Oh,
gonna be
thank
fine.
goodness. It's been like so making nerve wracking.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be fine. And I
Okay.
can't wait to watch it again.
Okay, good.
Okay.
All right,
bye-bye.
I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. I'm not gonna end it till I read this. really quick.
chat.
You did? Okay, I'm gonna look at it really quick. Wilma and Alma, I can't see you, but thank you for coming. Alma, everything's here, very nice. Oh.
All right, should we?
Yeah, make
End
sure
the
you
meeting?
end it in a way that you save recording.
It's gonna save it automatically.
Okay.